Today I got one of my oldest friends, literally one of my oldest friends. And he was even at my wedding. And he's one of Cleveland's top businessmen. He's owned businesses, he owns patents, and it's going to be a great show. His name's Ted C. Moss. So Ted, how's your hearing?
It's not as sharp as it was when I was your age.
Do things start going when you get older?
Yes, they do. They start about your age and slowly start to get bad, and after you pass about 75 or so, they start to speed up.
Whew. Are you glad to be here, though?
Now I'm glad to be anywhere at my age. I'm 83.
Now, what was it like? Things are much different than when you grew up.
A whole lot.
Where was you from, Ohio?
Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio.
But your mother was German, right?
She came from Austria, which is really part of Germany.
Did she immigrate here?
Yeah, she came here from when she was 17 years old, couldn't speak the language, nothing.
Was your dad? Did he come here with her?
No.
They met here?
His family had been here 3 generations.
What was his nationality?
English. I got German, Austrian, I guess you'd say, but I call it considered German and English.
Was she the brains?
That's an unfair question. My dad was a very inventive type person. My mother was a very hardworking person. And she was really, she said I was the smartest person, the greatest person she'd ever known in her whole life. And so I have to say she was extremely smart. Oh, golly, I don't know.
Speaking of that, whose idea was it to start the mop company? Was that her idea or his?
No, that was his idea. My father was a brokerage salesman. He sold string, rope, twine, lots of different textile products in the string twine area, sisal twine, rope, and he sold them to a great variety of different people as a broker. And he represented mills in the southeast of the United States. He did not manufacture anything. He just represented mills, different manufacturing companies. And then he would resell the product to people that he would buy from different mills in the southeast. Then he would mark the product up to whatever he could get and sell it to different people, including bakeries and wholesale hardwares, a great variety of different places, including people who manufactured mops. He sold them tapes and stuff to manufacture mops with.
What made him decide to go into the?
He never could understand why people in the mop business would always try to make something cheaper instead of better. And he said he felt like he could make a product better rather than cheaper. And that's what gave him an incentive of trying to make a better industrial or commercial wet mop than cheaper.
So he came up with the idea of using more or less reusable mops over time.
Well, there's a lot of difference between a commercial mop and a retail mop. He was interested in going into the commercial business, which is, in other words, the hospitals and schools and other commercial people, not the household type product. That's a different
Did,
product.
did he already have some patents before he started the mop business, or did he start
No.
the mop business first?
No, he never had any patents.
So he just decided to start making some industrial type mops.
He decided to try to make a mop better than it was. And he designed, came up with an idea that was improved the mop, or make the first improvement in a mop in 100 years by doing a specific improvement to the mop, which I can describe and tell you what that was.
Was that one of his patents?
Oh yeah, this is the first patent.
Is that where what was that?
If you look at a mop, strings hanging down from them, he took those strings and put each one of them right next to another. Then he sewed a band across the bottom, not the top. The headband is on the top. He sewed a band across the bottom of the mop and sewed each strand down next to the other one. So that when you swung the mop, it opened up like a fan. And it stopped the yarns from untwisting because it stopped right there. But you had to open the yarns up so that they would pick up water before you sewed it down. If you sewed it down the way the yarn was made, it wouldn't pick up water because the yarns were twisted tightly in order for them to open up slowly. The whole concept of a mop was a terrible concept the way it was being used at the time. In other words, it was made with yarns that were really spun down real tight so that it wouldn't pick up any water until it had been used a while. Well, once it got used a while, it just started falling apart because nothing stopped it from untwisting.
Did he make the mop removable from the head, the handle from the head?
Well, the mops were always normally removable from the head in the commercial industry. It was different in the retail. That's a different product. But in the commercial industry, the mops were almost removable.
Was the factory in Ohio? Was it big then, or was
No.
it just small?
No, we had between 12 and 15 employees total when we left there.
Was that enough to make enough mops to sell to make a living?
No, not really. We had a real problem there because we had the Teamsters Union, and we had to pay fairly high dues to the union, and nobody else in the country was in the mop manufacturing business was unionized except us.
So that made it tough.
It made it very tough on us.
Was that why the move to Cleveland, Tennessee?
Well, I wouldn't want to be quoted as having said that, but it certainly made it better for us.
Why Cleveland?
We went to Atlanta. We were planning on moving to Atlanta. But when we got down there looking around for land and everything, including labor, seemed very much more expensive than if we backed off a little. So we backed off a little and looked over in North Carolina. We looked over in Chattanooga. While we were looking in Chattanooga, a fellow named Lynn Davis, Lynn Davis?
Kalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a
Lynn
Committee 100.
Yeah.
You remember there was a committee that used to try to get industry in, and that kind of thing, and he got a hold of us, and he said, listen, you can come to Cleveland instead of, you don't want to go to Chattanooga. He said, we're 25 cents an hour or less pay in Cleveland than you have to pay in Chattanooga, and we have much less union attitude in Cleveland too, and we got everything better, and blah, 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 blah. And we thought about it, and we said, hey, you're probably right. So maybe we'll go to Cleveland. So we talked to the mayor there at that time or the judge, county judge they called him at that time, Jackson, Mayor Jackson.
I didn't know him.
Yeah, he was the judge at that time, the county mayor.
Yeah.
That time they called him judge, mayor judge or whatever. We talked to him, and he said, yeah, I'll write you a letter here. We'll give you 5 or 7 years of tax-free. I said, oh, that'd be great. To make a long story short, we never got our tax-free that he had wrote us about. But
Wonder why?
The county commission, he said that he didn't bring that up in a formal meeting. He brought it up in an informal meeting. So they said, too bad.
Boy, that's tough, isn't it?
Well, Carlin Payne, our attorney at the time, said, "Oh, that's no problem. We can sue against his bond." I said, "I'm not going to do that. I just got here. You know, I'm not going to start suing people."
About what year was that?
Well, we moved here in 1970. Let's see, it was 1970.
On the courthouse square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland-Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call.
Is that where y'all were at over off the APD 40? Is that your first location?
No. Our first location was downtown Cleveland. Grover Cleveland owned, re-rented from.
Grover Ash?
At Grover Ash, yeah. Grover Ash.
Well, by the time y'all moved to APD 40, were y'all rolling then?
I wouldn't say we were rolling anything. We weren't making any money yet. Rolling's when you make some money. We didn't make any money really until 1978.
Had you already moved into the new facility by then?
We moved into I forget which year it was now. It would have been several years later. I think it 19. I'm trying to recall 70s. My dad died in 78. It would have been 1974, I think. I think 73, 74, something like that.
Well, that was a big facility at the time, wasn't it? I mean, that was a...
No, we had just the one building on the one side of the road.
But that's pretty good size.
Yeah, it was, well, we increased it. We increased after we built it. We increased it. I can't recall the exact date.
What was the maximum number of employees y'all had?
300.
300. Golly, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was. It made me nervous.
Was it?
I had to meet payroll. I mean, if you haven't had to meet payroll, you ain't lived.
Did you have to make it when you were strapped for money?
Well, yeah. I used to be sweat. I'd call George Thurgood up at Merchants Bank, you know, and I'd say, "George, I don't know if I'm going to make payroll on Monday when the boys go in and cash their checks that I gave them on Friday.
Uh-huh.
You know, help me out a little if you need to, you know, please." And it was rough. It was
he
rough.
always pretty receptive?
He got kind of grumpy sometimes, but he was always took care of me.
He always had that spot on his side of his face. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a
birthmark or
that's
something.
that's a birth. I think that's a birthmark.
George Thurgood, that's Buck's daddy.
Yeah, but I liked him. He always took care of me. He was more expensive on his interest than the other banks in town, but he always took care of me.
So he was what, a point or two higher?
Yeah, not that much. Maybe half a point or a point.
But you just had to have the money then,
Yeah,
right?
but see, I don't want to sit around 2 weeks waiting for somebody to say yes. George had full control of the bank there. He had all the say, you know. He was the guy there. You know, he had all the say in the bank. So if he said yes, it was yes, you know.
So y'all went from 15 employees to Cleveland and ran it up to 300 employees.
Yeah, at one point. That was just at our highest part. Most of the time we were around 235.
How many patents did you end up with?
I can't tell you, 20-some.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was 20 different things on a mop that were different.
It was not just on a mop. There were a lot of different things. We had yarn pads, spin clean yarn pads. We had high duster units. We had different dust frames for dust mopping. We had all kinds of different stuff. Besides a wet mop, we had a lot of different things.
Were you in the business the whole time growing up, or did you go off to college, or what?
No, I was on business starting it when we started. Basically, my dad, I remember I was at Cornell University at the time. I went to Grinnell College in Grinnell, Iowa, and I graduated there as and went over to Cornell University. And I told my dad I was going to drop out of Cornell after one semester or so because I had this really great offer to go to work for Restaurant Associates in New York City. They had this unreal pay I'd never heard of before, it's just so much. I thought, wow, this is a deal. And I called him up on Thursday and I told him I was going to take this offer on Monday. He said, no, God, no, come home and see me on the weekends. I want to talk to you about something. And I came home and he started talking to me about this mop, that he had think he was going to make and so on. He never made anything in his life, and he never had been in manufacturing. I sure hadn't been in anything, Somehow, I don't know how, he talked me into living in the back of his home, getting paid nothing, and starting in the business with him. I said, if I'd known what I was doing, I wouldn't do that. But I didn't know what I was doing.
So you were there from the very beginning.
At the beginning. Oh, yeah. And my poor mother, she got sucked into this thing, too, because we couldn't afford to hire anybody. She worked at the factory,
Yeah. Well, it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out, but I'm going to tell you, my poor mother.
About what year was it when you were really starting to roll the money in?
About the year my dad died, 1978. I'll never forget.
How old was he?
75.
What that killed him?
I think it was arteriosclerosis.
Was he in good health till then?
Not really. He only ate was fried chicken. So I said, Dad, that damn fried chicken, that's gonna kill you yet. All that damn fried. That's all I want. That's all I want. That fried chicken. I said, that's whatever.
What did you graduate in college?
Public speaking and philosophy.
Why philosophy?
I loved it. I loved philosophers. I just loved it. That's the only thing I liked. And the public speaking I did because my dad couldn't get up in front of a group of people and say and present something because he couldn't do it. His nerves. He was the best salesman you've ever known, one-to-one. He was good, boy. I mean, he was really good. But he couldn't get up in front of a group. He started shaking and nervous. So he told me, he said, I want you to be able to get up in front of a group of people and present a product and stuff. So I said, oh, all right, I'll do that.
Now, were you over the JCs in Cleveland?
Yeah, not over. I was president.
President.
For a year or whatever.
Were you in that for a while?
Yeah, years. I was in there until I aged out. He aged out at 38 or something.
Johnny Brewer was here last week. He said when he was in, you were his president.
Yeah. Johnny's a carrier boy. He's a good guy.
That's another success story, isn't it? Do you think the JCs, do they still have that?
I don't think so. It was a good group when we had it. Man, we did some good. We made a lot of money for the community that we used for donating back in the community.
Yeah.
We really did a good job.
I wonder why they quit doing the JCs.
I don't know. They just went away 10 years later. I don't know why.
Did they teach business? Was that mainly it?
No, they're supposed to, I guess, but I don't think so.
What was the teaching mostly?
Huh?
What was the JCs for?
To train people to, how to run a business and that kind of thing. Yeah, I was supposed to train them, teach them, help them.
That's a Do you think that's a lost art?
I hope not, but maybe it is. I don't know. Hey, listen, I'm 83. I haven't been there since I was 38.
But I mean, as far as business is concerned, are they ran today like they were in late 70s?
I don't know what they do today. I haven't been there since I was 38. I don't know what they do today. I don't think there's a chapter here today. They still have a big organization, not nationally.
Oh.
They still.
But I mean, in general, business in general, like a place of business. You know, like even if you go to a restaurant or a car wash or anything, are they operated? Were they more business-like back then than they are now? The people?
I don't like to say. I don't like to say bad things about anybody, but business today is a lot different than it was back then. I could pick up the phone, call somebody and say something verbally. Today, everything's got to be done by a lawyer, or you can't count on it.
You mean if you talk to somebody about something, they agreed to it, it was more. You could count on it more than today.
Absolutely, yeah. That's fast way. Everything we do over the telephone, say, hey, I'd call up, hey Jim, how you been, buddy? Send me this and that, and just over the phone, you know, he'd take care of it. And he'd send it, and I'd pay the bill. And it was all done. No problem. If I didn't pay the bill or something, he'd tell 10 other guys, nobody would sell me. Today, nobody cares about nothing. They don't care who you paid or didn't pay. They'll sell you anyhow. Some other guy will. It's all different, just completely.
You know, there's some places I went down to had my car washed and some stuff fixed up over there in town. What was the name of that road? Sort of behind the Bank of Cleveland's branch office over on Worth Street. A guy by the name of Mark Ashley. He's got a car wash, and they really operate good. And, you know, they do it quick, fast, do what they say. And I think that there's some businesses that operate that way today, still the old way.
There's a few that do, yeah, but most of them don't. Because I used to call on telephone, tell somebody ship me this and that, be done, and I'd pay the bill. That was it. Today, if it's anything significant, you got to have a contract with a lawyer. You
about got to have a lawyer to do anything anymore.
Yeah, that's about right.
Because they're going to deny it.
Yeah, they'll say no, it didn't happen. Then you go, you got you unless you recorded it. You got no proof of nothing.
It's almost like you got to add a lawyer fee to everything.
Just about. And
you couldn't add that much to it.
Unless it's a nothing amount, you know, then you don't care. But it's a nothing amount. But if it amounts to anything, you got to have a lawyer and everything.
You think people's held their word more than they used to?
Now?
Yeah.
No. It's a different world. I'd like to go back to the 50s, 50s, 60s. That's when I could jitterbug. I can't jitterbug anything anymore.
Where'd you learn to jitterbug?
Just watching other people. Where did I learn? You think I went to school for?
Well, you had a sister, right?
A sister? Yeah.
Did she jitterbug?
No, she did, but not with me.
Yeah, but I mean,
I had plenty of girlfriends.
But I mean, is that where you learned it?
Not from my sister. Yeah. That's from girlfriends.
She's still alive, right?
Oh yeah.
Where's she live in?
Palm Beach
Juniper
area.
It's
Juniper.
Jupiter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people live there. Doesn't Kid Rock have a place there?
Yeah. He has one in her neighborhood. He has a home in what's it called? Her neighborhood. She lives in. What's the name of that place?
Does she know him? You ever seen him?
Oh yeah. She's been out. He walks around the subdivision every once in a while, and she says hello to him. They talk.
Is that right?
Yeah. He said a nice guy.
Well, that's weird, isn't it?
There's Jupiter Inlet Colony, is right at the corner of Jupiter Island. She lives, and my sister lives, and Skid Rock has a home in Jupiter Colony, Jupiter Inlet Colony.
And he walks his dog.
I don't know if he has a dog or not. He walks himself.
Oh.
He probably does have one. I don't know. You're adding to my story. I don't know anything about the dog.
I thought you said he had walked his dog.
I didn't say that.
Well, let me ask you this. From 78 to, when did y'all sell out?
1986. And I worked till 89.
Did you work as hard from 86 to 89 as you did from 78 to 86?
Actually, I did. I did because they were doing stuff I didn't like so well, you know. And they were making me more work than I needed.
What's it like to be running a business like that? And then does Rubbermaid call you and say, we're Rubbermaid, we want to come and talk to you, or how's that work?
It doesn't work well. That's all I can tell you.
Well, how did they contact you?
They don't really contact you. They just send you messages that you're going to do this, this, and this.
But I mean before they bought it.
Oh, before they bought it?
Yeah. How did they contact you?
That was a different thing. That's when Stan, the head guy, the head CEO guy, he called me on the phone and said, you know, we're interested in buying your company and so on and so forth. He was a real smooth guy.
Did you just pick up the phone and they said, hey,
yeah, I picked up the phone. I said, this is Stan. I said, Stan, who? You know, I said, who are you? What are you? Who are you? Well, he said, I'm the CEO of Rubbermaid. I said, you said the CEO? He said, yeah, I'm the CEO of Rubbermaid. I said, I began to think this is a scam.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I started to think. Why the CEO of Rubbermaid call me? That's a scam. So I didn't believe much of what he was saying. And the more he talked, the more I realized this is not a scam. There's something wrong here. This is strange only. I said, well, what's this about now? Well, we're interested in buying your company. I said, oh, really? I guess it all boils down to how much you want to pay for it and how much I want to sell it for. Do you want to come down and talk about this in person? Because I don't like talking about stuff over the telephone. And I'll find out if you're for real. Yes, sir, we'll do that. So next thing I know, he's flying in at this airport, and the pilot came in white-faced because that runway's so short.
Yeah.
He said he's lucky, he said he's happy to be alive. He said or something like that. I didn't know what he was talking about. But apparently that runway is real short out there at the old airport.
Yeah.
That's not, they don't use it anymore.
Did they come straight to the mop factory, or did they?
Yeah, they flew down to that old airport and flew the jet down to that old airport. He came in white as a sheep. He was so happy he didn't run off the runway. I don't know what he was talking about, but that's what he said.
Did y'all go eat somewhere?
No, they don't eat. No, they don't eat or nothing. They just talk. They come running and sit down in the office. Now, how much you want? I said, I don't know. There's a price somewhere. I said, but I don't know exactly where it is right now.
So you didn't make the deal right then, obviously,
no,
right?
No. I couldn't. I didn't even know this was real. I mean, that was one of those kind of weird, so kind of a weird situation. I thought it was a scam to start with. You know, I thought the whole thing was weird. But anyway.
Where did y'all get the name Seco? Because that was the name.
That came from Southeastern Cordage Company. Which is what my dad's company was originally.
Okay.
It was a brokerage company. It was a brokerage of cordage. Cordage means cord, ropes, string, twine, yarn, and so on. That's what it calls Southeastern Mills Cordage Company. Southeastern Cordage Company. So we just shortened it because our business became mops instead of cordage, so we shortened it to Seco because the cordage didn't mean anything anymore. So we said, well, let's just call it Seco Industries. So we changed it to Seco Industries. And it's kept that name until I left and they changed it to Rubbermaid of Cleveland.
How long from the time they came down to meet you did it take for the sale to take place?
Oh my God, I don't know. 3 months?
So that was quick, wasn't it?
I guess it was pretty quick. I think it was 3 or 4 months.
Was it hard to sell it?
I don't remember exactly. Well, no. They wanted to buy it. I mean, let me put it this way. I didn't exactly think I wanted to sell it. They wanted to buy it. So I said, well, so I sent out bids to other companies. So I sent one to Bristol Myers and 2 or 3 other companies that I knew had been interested in it, you know.
Yeah.
To see if they wanted to offer me more money than they were offering me. And actually, Rubbermaid gave me the highest offer.
So did they raise it after you got bids, or did they leave it the same?
Yeah, they raised it.
Like
I kept raising it too.
Like a couple $100,000 or something?
I don't remember what it was, but they kept raising it. It was several $100,000 more. I finally got out of them. I told them that they were a little low. So they wanted it pretty bad. You know why? There's not another mop company in the country worth buying, to be honest with you, for them. Because their gross margins are too low.
Did they get the patents with it? Did they buy the patents with it?
Oh, yeah, they bought the whole thing.
So it was the whole thing?
Yeah. Most of the patents have run out on the main one, the top patents.
Yeah.
Now, on the other products, they're still there. But on the original one from the mop, those had run out.
Because you were still getting royalties from the patents? Is that right,
No,
I guess?
I don't get any royalties from...
I mean, but did you then, before they bought you out?
No, you don't get royalties from anybody for patents if they're your patents. You don't get royalties.
Oh, you just nobody can use it. You
Nobody
couldn't
can-
license it?
You can license them.
Yeah.
We licensed some of the patents. We sued 2 or 3 companies for using our patents improperly and illegally, and we had some big settlements out of that.
So when they bought you out, you stayed there for 3 years?
Yeah, roughly, almost 3 years, not quite.
What was it like when you left for the last day? How old were you then?
47, I think. I'd have to go figure it out.
Was that hard when you quit?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was hard because I don't miss the stress of the thing and a lot of the stress involved in running the company and that kind of thing. But what I miss R&D. I was the whole R&D of the company. And when I left there, I said, look it, fellas, I said, we don't have I'm the whole R&D department. I'm it. You want to see an R&D department? I said, would you like to look at the R&D department? I told you're looking at it. I'm the whole R&D department. If you want me to stay, I'm willing to stay as the whole R&D department. All you have to do, pay me 3% of sales for 10 years on the products that I develop. How can they lose? They said, that's too much. I said, well, goodbye. That's too much. Are you kidding? How can they lose on that?
Yeah, because it didn't cost them unless
they take the
Yeah.
product that I
Yeah.
develop. Is that ever stupid of them?
Well,
I
Rubbermaid,
can't understand it.
Are
I
they-
never will understand that.
is Rubbermaid still Rubbermaid, or did they sell out too now?
Rubbermaid sold out to Newell.
Are they big? I guess they're huge, right?
Huh?
I guess they're real big, right?
Newell's bigger than Rubbermaid, but yeah.
Do you like living in Cleveland, Tennessee better than Cleveland, Ohio?
Oh, yeah.
Is
Oh,
it
yeah.
calmer or what?
Yeah, oh yeah. Cleveland, Ohio was. When I lived there, was a National Guard on every corner
Mm.
with a gun.
And then we don't have nothing like that here, do we?
No, yeah, not yet.
When did you run for constable?
1974.
So you owned Rubbermaid at the time,
Yeah, I not Rubbermaid. I owned
or Seco?
Seco Industries.
Why'd you want to do that while you did that?
I wanted to run for police commissioner,
Oh,
and I wanted some experience in law enforcement. But then it got too, I just didn't have the time to run for police commissioner, so I forgot. So I just stayed in as a constable, and then I switched over to field deputy in the sheriff's department with Lamar Lawson.
so you were a deputy while you worked at Seco?
I was a deputy with the sheriff for 35 years. You didn't know that?
Well, I knew that you worked with the reserves.
Yeah, that's the sheriff's department reserves. I was the head of the reserve for 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah. I arrested 351 DUIs.
Is that right?
Yeah. I never did catch you though, did you?
Never did. What about Lamar? Is he okay?
Lamar?
Yeah.
Lamar who?
You were under Lamar Lawson?
Oh, Lamar was great. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know him when I ran for constable. I voted for Bill Gibson. I thought he was going to win.
Uh-huh.
That's how wrong I was. And right after Lamar won, he called me into his office, and I was constable. I thought, oh, here, the shit's going to hit the fan now, because I voted for and supported Bill Gibson. And here it goes. Here we go. I might as well get ready for a ball, for a war. So he called me in, and Lamar says, well, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And all. What'd you say? I thought I was hearing things. Mm-hmm. He was the nicest guy I've ever heard. Here I voted for his competitor and everything. He, real nice guy. Mm-hmm. I really got to liking Lamar. He had like a third grade education or something like that, but I really got to liking him. He was really, he could find a criminal in a haystack, I'm telling you. He was really, I was sitting there one night and some deputy came in and said something about, oh, this guy did this and there was a theft of this and so on and so on. Lamar says, hell, I know exactly who that guy is. And he went out and arrested him. I mean, he knew every criminal in the whole county at that time. He was amazing. Amazing guy. And he was really a nice guy about things.
Was Steve there when you were there? He was just a kid then, right?
Oh, he was a kid then. He was 12 years old then. He's there much later. I knew Steve when he first got there.
You're friends with Steve now, right?
Huh?
You're friends with Steve.
Oh, yeah. We go out to lunch every month. Steve is one of the first, he's an honest sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
He's an honest sheriff. Mm-hmm. This county can be proud of him as an honest sheriff. He's a good guy.
And that's coming from somebody that's got some experience in law enforcement.
Yep. Yeah, I've been there 35 years. I'm not anymore. I'm too old. Can't do anything. I'm on a walk cane. Take you out with my cane.
You couldn't chase nothing now.
I couldn't catch nothing.
You couldn't catch a cold.
I could chase them, but I couldn't catch them.
You couldn't catch a cold.
No. Steve's a real good guy. He's an honest guy, and he does a darn good job. They just don't give him enough support. The county doesn't give him enough support because financially, all the counties around here, they're all paid 50 grand starting pay. He's got 40. How do you hire guys when every county around here pays more than he does?
Yeah.
How do you hire anybody? They don't stay. Duh. They don't stay.
Yeah, maybe they should get rid of some of them and pay the some more. Would that help? Or is that doesn't work that way, I guess?
Well, you got to have a minimum number of people to cover the county. And then he's got a minimum number he's got to have in the jail by law. You know, they're required to have.
Because we've got a jail. They got to have that many.
They have to have a certain number required by law for a certain number of prisoners. They don't have them.
I don't know
And then
how.
the jail flunks doesn't pass the test.
Yeah.
They don't have enough people. They can't get them.
Well, I'd hate to run that, wouldn't you? I bet that would be hard running that, harder than it would be a mop company, reckon?
I don't know. If you get the people, no problem. If you can get the pay, no problem. If you can't get the pay, be bad.
Yeah, what kind of a qualified person can you hire for $40,000? That's how much a week. Plus, they take insurance out, right? I guess.
I don't know what they do. I guess they take something out. You don't net that. You don't net that. No.
Scary, isn't it?
That's gross.
When you retired, when you quit there at 47, did it like to run you crazy? Nothing to do?
Well, I didn't last very long with nothing to do.
How long?
Well, I went into the rental business, you know.
But how long did you last before
About
you started?
3 months.
Oh,
About 3 or 4 months.
yeah. You ended up being very successful in the rental and development. How many
Yeah.
subdivisions you got going now?
I'm in the development business now.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about it because I got in 3 months, 4 months before COVID hit.
Oh yeah.
And it's been nothing but torture since.
How many subdivisions you got going now?
7.
Why do you do that?
Temporary insanity. I bought those just 3 or 4 months before COVID hit. And once COVID hit, everything stopped.
It's still stopped a lot.
Oh yeah, I can't get transformers now.
Yeah.
It's always something. Can't get water mains, can't get this, can't get that. Always can't get something.
It's tough, isn't it? Business right now. But that COVID's over now, isn't it?
Well, no, not really. Still around.
But you don't hear of people dying from it like you did.
No, they've got real good treatment for it. They got that pill you take when you first get it. It'll knock it out. It'll almost eliminate all death.
What's that called? Is it? So it's like a.
I forgot the name of it. But
So once you get it, they.
COVID, Lipovid or something.
I hadn't heard of that.
Oh yeah, you start that the minute you get COVID. Right after you get COVID, you start that. It just about limits any death. It eliminates any death just about.
Now, do you own another company in Texas, or did you?
Long time back, yeah.
What possessed you to do that?
I thought I'd make some money at it, and I did, but it didn't. It didn't. They passed some. I don't remember what exactly happened, but they passed some laws that gave us a real fit about allowing exporting to come in. You know, other companies to import in,
Yeah.
and that put the hurt to us. So I sold out. But I sold out to a company a big company that wanted that kind of a company for doing small piecework. You know, they have all these big companies that they are over in Mexico and where all, I don't know, that do the, manufacture all the uniforms for their companies. And then they just need a company in the States to do small stuff. Small piecework, 3 or 4 dozen or 20 dozen or something, and that's to them it's nothing. Well, they're used to doing 100 dozen or 500 dozen, that kind of thing.
Where did you get your business mind? Did you inherit that, or did that come through school, or did that just come through working at the mop factory?
That came from working at the mop factory. Whatever little mind I have left, it's from mop factory.
But why do you do all these subdivisions? And at 47, most people would just retire, but since then,
That's when I should have done retired, but I didn't have any idea that I was getting into this COVID stuff, because that made it rough.
Yeah,
I
but I'm
like doing
talking about
things.
from 47
Oh,
to recently. That's 30-something years.
oh, from Fortism, I did the rental business stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I did all that from 47 till 80, whatever.
Primarily just that.
Yeah, that's what I did. I did rental. I had several hundred apartments, several hundred, 700 storage units. And I had 100 some homes. I had a bunch of storage places, bunch of rentals.
Boy, that's a lot.
I got a big lick on those when I sold them. It was good, just timed perfect. I got lucked out on those, but then this damn
Yeah, if
COVID
you'd have
thing.
waited another year, you'd have probably. Well, you sold out for what, 25 million or something like that, or
You know, it's
28 million, or?
something like that. Yeah.
Well, I feel sorry for you.
Thank you. That's the second time.
Yeah, I know it. How about that company in Texas? Did you make it little money off it?
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately. That was a nice deal. That was nice.
But so, why do you get through all of that and right before COVID you end up doing these subdivisions? Is that?
Why did I do it? Because
Yeah.
I didn't know COVID was coming, or I wouldn't have sure as hell done it, would I?
Well, you can still get around it, I think.
Well, I'm just sitting there praying that I could find stuff like transformers somewhere. I don't know where they're coming from.
Well, we bought 3 off eBay last week. They had some guy that was selling them, paid double price for them.
Pay double price.
Yeah, but that's okay
Yeah?
because I got them in. So
Off
you might
eBay.
off eBay, and it's legitimate. So you might try that.
Is there any more there?
I don't know. The electrician found one, then the guy had another one, then he found another one. So we're hoping to get the one that we're supposed to get. Is supposed to be in at the end. We've got 4 coming the end of January, but now I've already got 3 of them. I only lack one. I'm afraid to cancel the order. But you know, I've spent about $2,500 each.
You
more.
can sell them to somebody else. Hell, I can't get any.
You know, it's not a big deal till you need one. Then it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So do you think, Ted, what do you do during the day? Do you just deal with these subdivisions or your others? I mean, do you have any other?
You know what I do? I deal with all the stuff that's very hard to deal with. My partners deal with the other stuff.
The easy stuff.
Right now, I'm dealing with getting insurance for running a sewer line under the railroad track. You ever heard of such a thing?
Yeah, and you get that from the railroad company in Atlanta.
I don't have a clue. I'm talking to the guy that does our insurance for us on, for the sewer.
Yeah.
And he's working on with his insurance guy right now to try and get me a quote. Hey,
Can you just put up a bond?
huh?
Can you put up a bond maybe instead of insurance? Cash bond?
I don't think so. You have to have insurance. I don't know how much, but the last I heard was huge. Huge.
Well, they can't let nothing go wrong with the boring under the railroad track. It's a big deal.
$10
be a
million
problem.
insurance. Can you believe that? I never heard of such a thing.
I guess you can do a lot of damage if it's not done right, maybe.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, plus the boring's not cheap either. Just
No,
the
we're
boring
do- we're do-
itself
Well,
is,
we got that covered.
but that's expensive,
Yeah,
right?
but we got it covered on that because our man does that. He knows how to do it. He's done it before. He can do it. But he's got to have it. He won't do it without having insurance that we have to pay for, of course. Oh, well. That's part of the problems you get into with development. Development can be a real problem.
But do you think you're better off with these problems than nothing to do? Or would you be better off with nothing to do?
I'm not the right one to ask for that because I can't stand doing nothing.
So you'd rather have these problems than nothing to do?
Well, I might say I'd rather have a different problem than this than nothing to do, but not this problem.
But as a rule, you'd rather have the problems of being in business.
I'd rather
than-
have some problem. This is not the one I want. The reason I say that, I'm not qualified for these type of problems.
Who is?
Well, not me. I'm engineers. I guess.
They don't know either. You just got to work through and maneuver them.
I'm not an engineer. I've got, you know, Milton Norsworthy? He's
Yeah.
helping me out.
Yeah.
He's a chemical engineer.
He's smart, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's very organized.
he's a chemical engineer. He's been helping me out.
Well, he ought to be helpful with that insurance, right?
No, he's not helping with insurance. No. Oh, he doesn't know nothing about that. I'm doing that because he doesn't know nothing about it. I'm trying to get it done.
Surely the railroad company would know who to contact, who they'll accept insurance from. Whoever they'll accept it from is whoever you need to get it from, right?
I've called everybody. You wouldn't believe how difficult it is to get an answer from anybody.
I had a problem with the railroad one time, easement, and I couldn't get answers. And I just drove to Atlanta and walked in the railroad station. It's close to that hot dog place, the Victory thing. Yeah, what's the name of that? Varsity hot dog
Varsity,
place.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just walked upstairs and I met a guy and he was real nice and he signed my papers for me and I was back to Cleveland before lunch.
Sign your paper for what?
Easement. I had to get. These old railroads would take 100 100-foot easement in some places, but other places they only had a 50-foot easement. And I wanted them to reduce where they was at from 100 to 50 because it was 50 everywhere else around me, and I figured, why did they need the 100 there? So I had the documents prepared, went down there, and he signed them. No problem.
Who was he?
I don't know, it was years ago. Probably can't get in now because COVID. So you think that, but if you think some problems are better than nothing to do?
Well, if the type you can handle and deal with and so on, yeah, you know.
But a problem is a problem. It just
Yeah,
depends on who you are and how much money it is and everything else. It's still a problem.
Yeah, I know, but there's some problems you can deal with pretty well. That you understand the problem, can deal with it, know where to go and how to do it. I don't know how to deal with a railroad.
But you can't pick your problems. So if you're doing anything, you're going to have a problem.
Well, yeah, probably.
So if you were 57 like me, you wouldn't retire. You'd keep working because you know that if you don't have anything to do, it's a problem.
If I were 57, I'd be delighted to work.
And not retire
No.
because it works on your mind.
No, I just I want something to be productive about.
Why?
Because I don't like sitting around doing nothing, say, hey, what did I get done today? Nothing.
What's wrong with that?
I don't like that. I don't feel good about that. I think you're worthless when that's what you do.
So that bothers you, being worthless.
Yeah.
You think what's the psychology behind that?
I don't know. Well, that's me. That's my mother.
Did you try it back then when you was retired?
Yeah, 90 days were.
So you knew right then that you couldn't.
I just didn't enjoy that.
Now, didn't you have some properties in Florida?
Yeah, several.
And did you live there for off and on or what?
No.
You just drove down there?
Drove down there for 3 days, 4 days. That was it.
Like a month?
No. I think we did one time. We stayed a month years ago when we first got them. One time. That was when we first sold out.
Were you retired? So that's when you were retired?
I think that's when we didn't retire though.
But you didn't have. But that was when you didn't have anything to do.
Right. We went down there for a month one time. That was the last of that. Well, by the end of the month, I was going walking in the hitting walls
So you're saying not having anything to do is worse mentally on you than having problems?
I don't enjoy that.
Now your wife's big in the Ann. Everybody loves her.
She's very popular.
How in the world did you meet her?
At church, I was going to the Presbyterian church in Cleveland, Ohio,
Uh-huh.
and I went to the young adults club there, and they were all fat and ugly, the women there. So someone told me the Episcopal church had better looking girls. So I went over to the Episcopal church. Now you understand I was 24,
Yeah.
23. So I went to the Episcopal church, and that's where I met my wife. And sure enough, they had better looking women there.
Ann is on the board at the boys club, right? She's big into that.
Into what?
To the boys club.
Yeah. She's on the board there because I can't be on the boards.
So how's your what'd you have, knee surgery?
Yeah.
And they replaced the whole knee?
No, they should half the knee.
Was you better off to do that than a whole knee?
Well, you would think you would be.
I guess you need your feet for balance specifically.
You need it for balance. Peripheral neuropathy destroys your balance. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Destroys your balance.
Because you can't feel your feet?
Can't, yes.
None?
They're, well,
Some?
mostly bad. You're numb on the bottom of your feet,
Totally?
mostly.
Can you get acupuncture?
Oh, you get all you want, it won't help.
There's got to be a cure for that. Doesn't make sense that there's not a cure for that.
If you find me one, I'll be real thrilled. I'll give you a nice tip. There ain't none.
Sometimes my feet get to tingling. Is that early signs?
Yeah, it's not good.
But I think it's because I wear boots. I tie them too tight.
Shouldn't. Tingling is the first stage of neuropathy. That's the first stage one of neuropathy. Tingling. Real bad.
You got to be careful not stepping on hot coals, don't you? Could you feel hot coals?
Oh, yeah, you probably feel hot cold, but that's extreme. You know, I have some feelings, though. It gets worse every year.
Is it just the nerves, the little nerve endings?
It's the nerves between the knee and the toes that are lack of blood supply.
So it's not the bottom of the feet necessarily?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
They're numb.
Because of the lack of
feet
blood?
are numb because the nerves are numb from the knee to the toes.
Won't they just put something in there to pump more blood to the bottom of your feet?
You'll have to talk to somebody above my pay grade on that. They've tried everything, they can't get it to work.
So, Ted, when are you going to literally, really retire?
Probably when I croak.
So how will you get all these projects done if you're in the middle of it?
I don't know, somebody else will have to do it.
But you won't be able to finish it when you're in the grave.
No, I don't think so.
But you'll try, right?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how long it'll take to do. I've got a lot left. The problem is that we've made investments in all this stuff
Yeah.
that some of these projects have already got sewers and stuff done in the next phase. So the next phase is profitable
Yeah, you got to.
compared to the last one.
It's like swimming halfway to Cuba, and you're halfway there. You might as well go the rest of the way.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is paying for it all and getting it done. Yeah.
I have a funny feeling you're going to make it, and somehow or another you'll make a lot of money off of it while we all sit and
You
watch.
have to finish the next phase. There's a bunch of lots left. I mean, oh, my 93, please don't even talk to me.
All right, Ted, I appreciate you coming.
Are you done?
Yeah, I enjoy our friendship.